Hello everyone, welcome to Rockshire Gaming. My name is Eric. Today we are going to be doing our third and final look at pre-launch information on Zombicide White Death. CMON this past week, I think it was on the 31st of March, released a live stream that they did where they went over other mechanics and a couple surprises for White Death. So I went over a couple of things in my notes right here, these notes right here, and want to talk about a few things, clarify some other things, and then kind of give my reaction. Maybe if I decide to, I guess I don't know, we'll make some final predictions on the game, but this is going to be what was covered in that last live stream video. So you can go ahead and take a look at there. You can watch the trailer for that. It was actually pretty awesome. And we'll get to that here in a little bit, but for right now, we're going to go over my thoughts on the new White Death game. And first thing I want to go over, was not the first thing they covered, but the first thing that I would like to go over is some clarification. So when we did the last video and they talked about a Necromancer deck in the dev diary that they were going to be introducing this game, I went kind of in a rant. If you got through the video to that point, I kind of talked about like different things that could be in that Necromancer deck, talking about like, oh, maybe it's just different things the Necromancer does and different abilities that the Necromancer does during the spawn phase or whatnot when you're drawing from that deck. Apparently what it actually is more closer to in what they have here for Undead or Alive is that in Undead or Alive, you draw the Abomination card. You see, oh, it's an Abomination, or you draw the Zombie card. Zombie spawn card. You draw the Abomination, and then you pick an Abomination from all the ones that you have, and that's the one that goes into the game. Apparently, they're going to be doing the same thing with the Necromancer. So instead of taking all your Necromancer cards from Black Plague and Green Horde and throwing them into the one zombie spawn deck and hoping that you, or maybe not hoping that you get certain ones, instead, they're going to have it to where it's just the generic, from what I can tell, they're going to have the generic Necromancer card Necromancer spawn card in the zombie spawn deck. And then once you draw that card, you're going to pick from your Necromancer cards the Necromancer that's going to be actually spawning in that zone. That's the way I interpreted it. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know in the comments. But like I said, they said that they were going to be doing those rules from 2nd edition. Primarily, and I went back and looked through the rules of 2nd edition with the and they're referring to the Abomination deck in that. Went back through and looked at even the main rule book in 2nd edition. Looks like they had 4 or so different zombie abominations that were in that game. So whenever you drew an abomination, you could pick. You basically drew another deck to find out which one goes in. That's basically how this one works. Haven't actually gone through Black Plague yet, but yeah, that's what they're doing with the Abomination or Necromancer deck, is making it more like the Abomination decks in 2nd edition and Undead or Alive. So there is that. Now, to break away from that, because that is my number 10 point here, you do see that I have a Black Plague box here. This is one that somebody let me borrow, and so we'll be doing some gameplay on the channel with this. I also ordered my own because I did see it that I was on sale, and I had a gift card too, so I'm going to have my own version of Black Plague arriving here soon, and this is Jake's copy of Undead or Alive. We've already filmed. Today is Sunday the 2nd when I'm recording this. This will probably go out Monday the 3rd when it goes out, but we do have some gameplay of this that is going to go out later this week. I've already edited that video down, so the first one at least. We got some more we have to film that we're going to film over the next couple weeks, but be looking out for that on the channel very soon. Now, going over some other stuff that was covered in the live stream that CMON did. One, the big thing that was covered, and it was the very beginning of the video. They had some special guests on, but apparently Lacuna Coil did the theme song. They are, assuming, an Italian band. Yes, they are apparently a Italian gothic metal band from Milan. So that is pretty cool. I don't really have much experience with the listening to the band's music and whatnot. I think there's some songs in Rock Band from forever ago that we played back then. But the trailer was awesome. They released the trailer for White Death. It was awesome. The music in it was great. Not going to feature it here. If you want to go take a look at the CMON YouTube channel, they will have it on there and all their other socials. Not going to play it on here just because, you know, copyright. But yeah, it was pretty cool, and they are actually they answered the question very early on in that stream of are they going to be in the game, and yes, they are going to have a pack of survivors. They even mentioned on there that people thought people probably assumed that they would be zombies, but they are going to have a pack of survivors representing the members of the band. It's going to be a free promo that is going to come with White Death. So if you pledge to White Death, you are going to get during the Kickstarter campaign, you are going to get those promo items for the band. So there is that. If you buy it at retail later on, probably not going to get it, but it will be a free promo during the Kickstarter. So that was something pretty cool. So we already know we're getting an extra 5 survivors in this game. So that's pretty cool. Other questions they answer about the mechanics of the game. They asked whether or not it'd be compatible with past fantasy games. Answer was yes. You can use aspects of Black Plague and Green Horde in White Death. And we'll kind of get into that a little bit more, but and it kind of goes back and forth. They did say that you can use some aspects of White Death in Black Plague and Green Horde, but primarily you're going to want to go from Black Plague, Green Horde into White Death. They did state, for some reason, I'm not sure why, but they did state this is not a second edition of the fantasy series. They're basically just making quality of life improvements and whatnot from for the fantasy series, kind of incorporating some things from other games that we'll kind of go into. But yeah, there's going to be that. So that was that mentioned there. They talked about the ruin zones, that there's going to be a lot of zones that are going to be a lot of areas in there that are going to be ruined just because of the state of Wintergrad, the town or the city that the game takes place in. They said something, I believe they said something in there about not being able to search through certain zones. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Again, my experience is very limited. Only have a couple of experiences with Undead or Alive here. Haven't even touched Black Plague yet. That'll be hopefully this week. We're going to get into that. But it'd be interesting the fact that you can't go into a building or structure and not be able to search just because it is so dilapidated and whatnot. So let's see. They also said that they are going to put objectives on the tiles themselves. I'm assuming they're still going to have the objective markers, but they are going to have basically placed on the tiles where the objectives are going to be for more ease, and no doors. It's one of the things. I don't know if I leave it in, if I left it in during our Undead or Alive, the first video we're doing for that, but I did ask the question of doors because I'm used to, we played through Marvel Zombies. There's doors in that one. Apparently, there are no doors in Undead or Alive. When you walk into a structure, it basically activates the spawn zone for the corpse piles that are in that one. But apparently, because of the condition of Wintergrad, there are no doors in White Death. So that is going to be a change from Zombicide, Black Plague, and Green Horde, because I think even going back to the Kickstarter pages, they sold 3D doors. So we'll see what goes on with that. Difficulty, they didn't say whether or not, I don't know if the question was just presented correctly or not. I know that Green Horde, I believe, is a little bit more challenging because the zombies take more to hit than in Black Plague, but I think that was the question they were looking for there, was whether or not it was going to be Green Horde difficulty or Black Plague difficulty, but they just said it was going to be variable difficulty for the game. One of the things they did mention in there, and they confirmed in there, something I questioned in the last video, was the location kind of Wintergrad. They did say, and especially because I think they said it was their Singapore team that was working on the game, that White Death is going to have a more Eastern Asian medieval feel to it. So there will there's going to be a lot of references in the art styles to a more Eastern feel. Most likely in the stretch goals and other materials, there will probably be more Eastern references. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm kind of wondering if they're going to have, well, I was going to say, like, I don't know, more, maybe not more anime references in the stretch goals, because, when they come out with stretch goal characters, they like to make a lot of different pop culture references. So we'll see if that kind of gets integrated into the game at all. They did talk about there was a new lance weapon that was going to be a melee weapon of reach 0 to 1. So that was pretty interesting. One of the other major differences from the previous games to the new game that they are putting in there, as we all know, is that there's going to be the guards. They did talk about the guards in the game and what you could do. I know it was kind of funny during the live stream, but people were basically giving names and personalities and backstories to the guards during the stream. So if you want to kind of see the comedy of that, you can go back and watch the stream. But they talked about the commands. During the course of the game, you're going to be able to use actions from the survivors to give commands the to the guards or the NPC characters in the game. They didn't say how many necessarily that you would control per command or whatnot, but they did say that there are going to be generic commands that are open to all the survivors. So, and that includes the survivors from Black Plague and Green Horde, whether or not you're playing with the characters from here in a White Death game, or whether or not you're using the guards in a Black Plague Green Horde game, because I believe they said you could do that if you wanted to. There's going to be generic commands that all survivors will be able to issue in the game. Now, the caveat to that is that the characters specifically from White Death will have, I think they said it was a new blue skill. Yeah, blue skills have different guard skills, so there's going to be a new blue skill on the cards that they'll have the normal blue skill that the survivors will use, but then there's a guard skill that is a blue skill that is unique to each different survivor. So that way you're not just issuing, yes, you can issue the generic commands, but then there's going to be a specific survivor guard skill that you'll be able to issue to the guard. So I thought that was pretty cool. Integrating the various, don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore. I thought it was pretty cool that they were basically not only making like the normal blue skills and all the different skills unique, and they're not introducing classes or anything into the new game, but giving each survivor their own, they get their own regular blue skill, but that each guard they can control the guards in different ways and have the guards do different things depending on which character you're using. So it's going to be not only having to figure out in a scenario when you have expansion content, because there are only going to be the 6 survivors in this one, but not only figuring out like which survivors you want to use in a game when you have all that additional expansion content thrown in there, but as well for your own abilities, but also having to figure out which guard abilities you want to throw in there as well. So that's going to be pretty interesting. They did talk about the freeze mechanic that was going to be introduced in the game. I think they talked about it in one of the other dev diaries. They said it was basically going to be very similar to the Void Retro, I believe that's how you say that, ability in Undead or Alive, which, let me tell you, that ability, if you're using the Faithful in Undead or Alive, will very much save your butt during a game. And like I said, you'll see it in the video that I'm gonna be posting later this week. But there's a couple times where that ability definitely saved our butts and made sure that we just didn't get overwhelmed, overrun by the various zombies. So that's all the things I have written down. A couple things they also mentioned or didn't mention or maybe ignored or didn't see during the stream. I think someone kept mentioning something about 3D walls. The trailer does show basically the size, and it's pretty large, of the corruption tokens that the Necromancer is going to be launching, and the fact that they basically just run through the wall and tear down the wall and allow the zombies to come in. What they didn't mention in the stream, and I think I saw that it was asked, but it was never brought up, was whether or not they were going to have 3D terrain thrown in. Whether or not they were going to have it to where you can actually have the wall placed, I'm hoping. Again, this is kind of a prediction, but especially because you're not going to have 3D doors, and they've made 3D doors in the past before. I'm wondering if that's going to be a stretch goal later on. Not even a stretch goal. I wonder if it's going to be an optional buy later on. They did talk about the fact that, yeah, we're going to have optional buys, this, that, and the other. But they are. I'm wondering if they are going to have an optional buy in there for putting up wall tokens, especially. I mean, they're going to know between the main game and any expansions that they decide to throw at us during the course of the campaign. They're going to know how many tiles, essentially, how many pieces of wall that the survivors are going to, or that the players are going to need to set up each individual scenario. So I feel like I'm kind of torn, just because the wall pieces, though they're going to be cool, would have to be pretty hefty. Because I mean those spaces are pretty large too. Like the spaces for, because it's basically like a middle, taking up the middle of each one of those tiles. So we'll see how they're going to do it, because like I said, those are going to be pretty hefty pieces. And for each, essentially for each tile, they would almost have to make 3 pieces each, because each tile itself looks like it would be like a 3 by 3 spaces on there, so 9 total spaces on the board. So with 3 of those spaces potentially having a wall piece. So it'd be kind of interesting to see what they do with that, and if they're going to do 3D terrain, and just how elaborate it's going to be with that. When they were talking about the Necromancer decks, they alluded, they didn't blatantly come out and say it, but people were asking about how they were going to integrate better the Black Plague content, especially with how I don't believe with Black Plague and Green Horde that there are any there's not like separate decks for the Abominations. That was a second edition thing, and they basically said, you guys know how we work, we got you guys, kind of thing. They basically alluded to the fact that they may have something that will adjust the cards for this game with the Abominations and Necromancers to be used in White Death, so that way you're not putting like the obvious zombie spawn cards for the Abominations and the Necromancers from this game into the zombie spawn deck in the new game. So we'll see, because they basically want the zombie spawn deck to be its own unique thing, its own finite deck. But then if you're throwing like that's what I was trying to say, the cards from Black Plague and Green Horde into the Necromancer deck and the Abomination deck, you're going to know what game essentially they're coming from when you go to draw them. So it looks like they're going to have new cards coming in, kind of update cards, kind of like with the Marvel United, with the fact that they are updating the equipment, or creating equipment cards for the old games and moving those over. Yeah, like I said, it looks like it might be an optional buy for, or even a stretch goal to have those cards come over, because I don't know how many cards it would be. It depends on how many Abominations and Necromancers there were in the other games. To just basically give them have an updated card. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Then it makes me wonder, again, going with hopes and predictions, it makes me wonder if they're going to pull a Marvel United and offer, if they're already printing, I mean, it's just cards, I understand that, but it makes me wonder if they're going to offer the stretch goal boxes from the previous campaign. I'm not, if you're made it this far into the video, we're at 20 minutes recording, who knows where we're at editing. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I am not with CMON, I know nothing. But I'm curious if they are going to do something where they're going to give something to integrate the stretch goal boxes from the old games into the new games, if they're going to re-release those boxes. The game has been very popular for CMON, but Black Plague came out in 2015, I believe, is when the Kickstarter started. I'm working on my spreadsheet list right now, so I can for the update videos that I will inevitably be doing. But 2015, so that was 8 years ago that Black Plague was announced and the Kickstarter campaign was going through, and Green Horde, I believe they said it was about 6 years ago. So those boxes haven't been available for quite some time. You can still buy all the expansions online and other places. You can buy the main games, the expansions, and whatnot, but they haven't offered that exclusive content in quite a while, I would imagine. So it makes me wonder again if they're going to pull a Marvel United and offer those stretch goal boxes. I don't know if it would be something I would be getting or not. It depends on how much I like Black Plague when we start it, but and how much I want to use different survivors. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what they do with this game and how this campaign rolls. So that is all for me at this point of what was announced during this campaign. If you made it this far into the video, I appreciate you. As far as what I'm going to be doing covering the video, for those of you who were coming to the channel for the Zombicide content and didn't see much of the Marvel United content, basically what I'm planning on doing for this while this campaign's running and doing videos for the campaign is I will be doing on Wednesday night, very late. It'll probably be coming out early Thursday morning. But Wednesday night, I will be doing a video going over everything day one. So April the 5th, I'm going to be going over everything that was announced on day one. So going over the different survivors, going over any different zombies, abominations, anything like that are announced on day one. After that, I'm not doing daily videos. I didn't do it for Marvel United. It seemed like I did, but I'm not going to do daily videos on Marvel United. I will probably do videos anytime that a live stream is done. CMON likes to do Friday live streams during the campaigns, kind of doing like a weekend review thing. I will probably do a video on that, not necessarily about the live stream unless something interesting happens during the live stream, but more so going over any expansion or big thing that comes out during that campaign. Looking at the previous campaigns, I know even second edition Zombicide, they don't do too many expansions, like main expansions, it looks like. But even looking at Zombicide Black Plague, there were like 10 different guest artist packs that came out. So again, I know with Undead or Alive, I think later in the campaign is when they announced the steampunk expansion for that one. So it wasn't right away in that campaign. It was later on. So but then opposite of that with Marvel United and Marvel Zombies, like every couple days they were announcing a new expansion. I know and I can't even remember now. You would think I covered that whole thing for 3 weeks that I would remember every expansion. I don't. I think there was total 8 boxes. Sorry, I'm brain farting on how many boxes there were. I'd have to go back, and I don't have it up. So, regardless, I will probably, like I said, I will do a video most likely on Friday night, going into Saturday, going over everything that was announced on Friday during the live stream and any other stretch goals. And then any other time that there is a major expansion or a major product announced, I will probably go ahead and do another video covering everything up to that point. And if during not the first week, so Wednesday's the launch of the campaign. Friday they'll probably be doing something. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. That whole next week after that, I might hold off. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that's typically how I did Marvel United. I basically did a video every time a major expansion was announced. So probably with this, I'll do that again. We'll see how that goes. Next time something major is announced, I will do a video. As far as additional content during that week, we are going to be playing more of Zombicide, Undead or Alive. I will be getting my copy of Black Plague. We'll probably do an unboxing of it. Don't know why, but I'll probably be doing an unboxing of it, and we'll probably be playing some of it during that probably 3 weeks that the campaign's going on. And doing other things throughout the course of the week as well. Probably maybe do some more Marvel United. I might hold off the Marvel United stuff until after the campaign is over. But that is one of the main things that the channel is we do. I do have some Marvel United videos in the can ready to be. I got to edit them. But we got some of that stuff going on. So that's probably what we're going to be doing for the next couple weeks to give you an update. So all you guys who have been coming in for, I think between the 2 Zombicide White Death videos that I have done, we've got about they've got 3,000 views so far. They're the most viewed things on the channel for the most part. So I do thank you guys for the support on that. Got a slew of new I was gonna say survivors, slew of new subscribers that have come through even in the last couple of days. So thank you guys for all that support. And yeah, I am looking forward to covering this game, and I hope you guys will join me for that. And I'm gonna stop rambling, because that is what I do here. I ramble, especially when I don't have anybody else here to tell me I'm playing a game wrong. But yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the notification bell so that way you know when I am doing a video in this series and any other series. But yeah, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.